Hi, Jason Solis here from downtown San Antonio. I'm at Geekdom. Fantastic place. I love it here. I have another 10 ideas for you, and these 10 ideas, a little notepad, are for connecting with people, specifically with friends. Now, I was speaking with a friend of mine actually here at Geekdom last week about how friendships are. We're at a time in our lives, I guess, in the history of the world or something like this, at least in the United States, where adult friendships seem to be suffering, for lack of a better term. We're having a hard time making new friends, and we're having a hard time nurturing the friendships that we have, and we're having a hard time just keeping up with friends. We seem to have lots of friends on Facebook, but maybe not spending as much time with friends as we could in real life, or on the phone, or as a group. In any case, I have some 10 ideas in which we can connect with our friends, and just real quickly, our friends can be our family. We can have siblings as friends, cousins as friends. They could be our coworkers. That's completely cool. And other people, strangers can be our friends if they're no longer strangers. So if you meet somebody, just because you don't know them doesn't mean they can't be a great friend. In any case, here are my 10 ideas of ways to connect. There's a little bit of explanation for them, so it might take me just a moment, but I will get through them, and I'd love to hear your comments below. All right, and I'll probably type these in if I have some time. 1, phone tree reimagine. Now, I'm guessing a lot of people don't even remember what a phone tree is, and I never really used one, but I know what it is. Basically, it's a branching out. If you think of maybe a game tree of consequences for actions, or how if you do this, then you can go this way. If you do the other thing, you go that way, and then it keeps on branching out. This is the same thing in that you have one person who contacts maybe 3 people or 4 people, and those 4 people contact 4 people, so you can basically spread information very easily. You tell one person, and then they tell 4 people, those 4 people tell 4 people, and that way the information spreads with just one phone call really easily. So this Reimagine is more like an email tree. So instead of just having a phone numbers, you just send an email to one person. Instead of sending it to a bunch of people, like we do, we just like CC everybody, and it's like, oh, everybody got the message, that's easy. No, instead, each person is responsible for replying to a certain amount of people. Now, why is this better than just CCing everybody? Well, for one, and I don't know if it is better, but this is just my theory. One is that when you see just a bunch of people and you just get a blanket of a bunch of, like, here, this is generic to everybody, it's just kind of like, okay, whatever, I don't know if I care. But if it goes directly to you, like say your name is Paul, and I say, hey, Paul, such and such is happening on Tuesday night, it should be really cool, I know that you like this or whatnot, could you contact your 4 people and let them know, and also say hi to Janet or whatever, because you know who his 4 people are. You send out your 4 very personal emails, they send out their 4, and I think that's a better way of connecting and going back and forth. I don't know if it is, but it's just an idea. 2, living card. Now this is something where you have, like, too often, I guess, or just basically by default, we get a card for somebody, like a birthday card, right? And that birthday card just goes from us to them. Now, what if it was a card that's like, hey, thinking of you card, and it goes not just from me to, let's use Paul again, right? Me to Paul, but it goes from me to Paul, then from Paul to Peter, then from Peter to Mary. If you get my joke. So it's going from one person to the next, and each person writes a little thing in there. Hey, thanks, Jason. I'm going to send this along to Mary. Mary, hope your day is going great. Send this along to whoever, and then they send it to the next person, and then finally it can kind of come around to where you're seeing, if you're like the 5th person down the line, you see all the people it's been sent to and how it's gone through different hands to get to you. Kind of like that movie, I think it was called $20, how it followed how a $20 bill went from person to person. But this card is, you can actually see the different comments all the way down the line, so it's kind of like a real living Facebook post, but going from person to person, and you feel included with the group. 3, call out. Now this is kind of a weird thing in that all the people agree to be in a group, or who are in a group agree to one thing, that if they get called out on a certain night, that they have to go. Let's say that everybody in the group says our call out night is Thursday night. Keep Thursday open, right? And one person in the group can call everybody out and say, hey, let's all go get pizza tonight at 7 o'clock. And if you're in the group, you can't just say, no, I don't feel like it or whatnot, because you've agreed that you'll be called out. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I may not like pizza, but because they're calling me out, I'm going to go with them, and I'm going to do what I can to enjoy the time. I think it's one of those proactive things on each person's part to say, I'm going to try to enjoy the night. And when we do that, we find that we do enjoy the night, and we enjoy learning about other people and what they love. 4, wheel of us. And I kind of like the dual nature of that, that we'll love us and that will love us, or we love us. The wheel of us is just basically like those game wheels, and like think of I don't know, like Wheel of Fortune, how you spin it and it's so on that you would have people's names and possibly another wheel within it that has activities. So, or maybe like something you could do for them, right? Send them a card, send them flowers, send them a video, write them a letter, whatever. And so you just spin it, Jane, and then it's like spin the other one, invite to go bowling, and then you just do that. And it's kind of randomness, but at least you're trying to be proactive in that. 5, food forward. Now this is something like you bake a batch of cookies, and then you give the whole batch of cookies to, say, one friend, and then you tell them, okay, you take about 3, and then you deliver them to another friend, and they take 3 and deliver them to another friend, so it just keeps going, kind of like the food, or kind of like the living card. 6 is a little bit weird. It's called living funeral, where each person writes the obituary. Like say you have a group of 5 friends, let's say it's me and 5 other friends, I would write an obituary for 4 of my friends as glowing as possible, and they would do the same thing, and then we can get together and just share them. Who are we to each other? And let's not wait till we lose each other to say how much we appreciate each other, how grateful we are, and how glorious they are in our lives. I think that's a good thing. 7, a photo frame. This is that you ask 5 friends to send you a photo or a couple photos of themselves, and you do the same thing. You kind of go across the board, and each person can make a collage of their photos for their house, and then do that with other friends and other friends and other friends. So instead of trying to collect the photos ourselves, do all that, we're actually asking them, will you send me a photo of yourself, and then I'll send you a photo of me, and we'll go back and forth. 8, Monsters Inc. I was watching the thing about a video about Pixar, so you can imagine I was thinking about Monsters Inc., but this is Monsters Inc. INK, where basically you write a monster story in a book about each other, for each other, to each other. So you use yourself and your set of friends or whatnot in a story about a monster or whatnot, and you send that book to the next person, they write the next chapter, and they send it to the next person, they write the next chapter, and then you all get together to read this book, The Monsters Inc. 9, Super Slam Book. If you remember slam books, they were just basically a notebook with a bunch of questions, and they went from person to person where they would write their answers. This is a Super Slam Book, and that would have like more in-depth, really crazy questions that would go from person to person, but instead of that book going from person to person, you would actually ask these questions one to another, collect them in the book, and then maybe share that book with everybody. 10, Win-tervention. Kind of like an intervention, but it's more for instead of finding somebody that they're doing something wrong, you sit around and you tell each other what you're doing right, and you praise each other, you encourage each other for what they're trying to do and trying to accomplish, what they've already done, and give them support and everything that they can be doing in their life. And so it's a circle of friends trying to encourage each other all across the board. Those are my 10 ideas for connecting with friends in this time of difficulty with friends, making friends and nurturing friendships. Maybe they work, maybe they don't. Give me your thoughts down below. Of course, if you haven't yet signed up to be an insider, for my website, jason-salas, that's salas.com, and you get access to exclusive content. You get to see my work in progress, and right now I'm creating a graphic novel, and you'll get to see that work in progress, plus other things. I got giveaways and whatnot. And stay tuned, I got something really cool happening with Patreon coming up pretty soon. Thank you and have a great day.